Welcome back to the Broken to Beautiful podcast. We are so excited about having our next guest. Her name is Carmen. She is an amazing human, has been through so many experiences. And what I'm excited the most is that her awakening process has been nothing like mine, which means that I get to learn something from her that I would not know because we only know through our own experiences. And the best gift that you can ever get from someone is their perspective, because that is their story. That is a life that you will have never lived, and you get to live it through their story. So Carmen, thank you so much for being here. I cannot wait to dive in.
Well, thank you, Bex, for your invitation. And let's break it open.
Let's do it. Okay, awesome. What sparked your personal awakening journey, or what you would call this deeper knowing, this deeper awareness?
Probably there were many things along the way in my life, just like everybody else's journey. Not everything happens at once. This is very important to understand. But for me, there was the one morning in 2019, in September 2019, after going through a divorce and several other, kind of like interesting things in my life, I woke up one morning asking myself, who am I? And if you would have asked me that question months before, I would have said, well, I'm an engineer, I'm a real estate broker, coach, investor, whatever, author. I had published my first book. That's who I was a few months before. But that morning when I woke up and this question was pounding in my head, who am I? Who am I? I suddenly realized that my entire life I have been someone that someone else wanted me to be, or I thought someone wanted me to be, rather than someone I wanted to be. And that was my dark night of the soul, because I felt lost. I felt in agony. I was in agony for a couple of months. I was crying every day for no reason. I was just crying. And then, fortunately, because this is how this journey is, when we realize that we are the divine presence within ourselves, we also realize that we created the game. So because we created the game, we placed on our path all kinds of tools, all kinds of instruments that help us awaken, that help us realize who we truly are. So after this agony with the question, who I am, one other glorious morning, I woke up remembering a quote from Tom Billier, and from a conference I went to with Mind Valley, and he said, it doesn't matter who you are today. It matters who you want to become and what price you're willing to pay to get there. And while I was still freaked out because I didn't know who I was, because at that point, I want to make sure that it's very clear, I did not have God in my life. You see, I had left God when I was 14 years old, thinking I don't want to be in the presence of a God who makes me fear him. I just want to be loved, and I want to love God. I don't want to fear God. So I thought I walked alone all my life. So at that time, I was still walking alone. And I said, okay, I don't know who I am today, but I know that all I have to do is to try to find out who I want to become. It's almost impossible on the spot to figure that out. But I'm like, oh, it's a journey. I guess if this is the journey, that's the journey I'm going to embark on. So that's kind of how it all started. The next step for me was I was called to do ayahuasca soon after that, maybe like 4 months after that, in January of 2020. And that basically just cracked me open. And from that point on, every single day of my life, I have had at least a revelation. So so that's how the shocking awakening started.
Love that. Can you share with me and our audience, what is ayahuasca? I've heard the term, but I am completely oblivious as to what that is, what it means. Can you just enlighten us on that subject?
I'm not going to give you a scientific or maybe like a documentary type information, but I'm going to say that ayahuasca is what it's called in the field of shamanic work, plant medicine. So shamans in South America and Central America have communicated with nature at such a deep level that they were able to find, literally the plant told them, mix these two plants together. And when you mix these two plants together, one of them has DMT in it, and the other one has an enzyme that allows the DMT that you ingested to act, to become the catalyst within your body for a good 6-7 hours. So if you drink this tea, they call it the brew or the tea. Usually you do it at 5 o'clock in the evening, and it lasts till about 2-3 o'clock in the morning, depending on how deep you go and how much you drink. But the best part about it is that the DMT is considered to be the God molecule. And the reason why it's called the God molecule, because it is said that it's literally separates your controlling mind, your left hemisphere of the brain kind of takes a break. And now you have full access to the subconscious, and the subconscious is God.
Yes.
I still didn't know it at that time, but I had some beautiful revelations that allowed me to see who I had become. Because this was probably this was the first step that was, we did 4 ceremonies back to back. So when you go through these journeys, you're literally communicating with the plants. Mother Ayahuasca, she's, that's a term of endearment for the plant. They call her Mother Ayahuasca, and she gives you all kinds of messages, and she helps you along. Like she'll tell you, work on this for yourself. Look, she might not say it in words. She'll reveal situations in your life that you get a clue. I guess I'm afraid of something, or I guess I'm still being maybe negative about something. I guess I'm still envious. I guess I'm still angry. I guess I'm still fearful. So you have all of these things are being revealed to you. The same thing that, let's say, a hypnotherapist would do whenever you triggered. Will dig inside of you and find the reason why you were triggered. The same thing happens in the plant medicine journey, without having to have, without necessarily being questioned by someone or put in a state of hypnosis, because really you are in some sort of a state of hypnosis when you take this medicine. So ultimately what this does, it allows you to see who you had become, because who are we today? We are the product of many, many years, and especially people who have not gone into the inner work and the shadow work and maybe finding out who they truly are. They will still carry with them the I like to call it the ballast, like a hot air balloon has a lot of ballast, and until the ballast is being removed, it can't go up. So the same thing with us, we carry this ballast from childhood, and it affects who we are. Like we can't be our authentic selves because we have fears, we have limiting beliefs, we had childhood traumas. Ultimately we believe that we are separated from God. So this is what plant medicine does for you. It teaches you that you're not separate from God, that we're all one, immense, eternal, infinite, living substance.
I love that. And I love that you said you didn't really get all of your answers from that ayahuasca, but it was revealing enough to you that it catapulted you into knowing something way more than what you knew before. And you said it shows you basically who you had become, all of the ways that the world had changed you,
stamped on you. Yes.
yeah, and talked you out of your truth.
Exactly.
What do you think was your biggest takeaway from the ayahuasca? What was your next step after that experience?
I want to say one of the most, first I want to share a very quick, the first thing that Mother Ayahuasca said to me, she said, because you speak her words. So basically I speak, but it's her speaking through me. I suddenly found myself saying to myself, I can do anything I want whenever I want. And this is the absolute truth. I didn't know it at the time, but I was speaking it and I took notes because I said, I never said something like this in my life, but it just came through me. So, and I get goosebumps all over right now because I hope this message goes to someone who is afraid they can't do something. You can do anything you want whenever you want. Absolutely 100%. The second message from Mother Ayahuasca was when I was feeling like maybe I wasn't good enough. So this is something that came up for me. Mother Ayahuasca said, what you want to do is to say to yourself and to anyone who comes to you with in need of something, you tell them, you are beautiful, you are amazing, you can do no wrong, I love you. And this is a beautiful mantra that I say to myself often whenever I go through my own little healing journeys, wherever something triggers me or something. You are beautiful, you are amazing, you can do no wrong, I love you. Just basically an inner work. And the third super impactful thing that Mother Ayahuasca said to me, and that was in the last day. In the last day, I set an intention to find out. And here I was back in 2019, 20, in January 2020, thinking that my mission is to help raise the world's consciousness. That was my thing back then. Here I go, get out of the way, because I'm going to help the world, raise the world's consciousness, right? So that's what I asked Mother Ayahuasca. I said, my intention today is for Mother to tell me, how can I help raise the world's consciousness? And I was so proud of myself for this massive decision that I made. And nothing happened the entire night. And that was like the longest journey. And I'm like, suddenly, that was the longest, like lasted till like 10 o'clock in the morning. So about 8 o'clock in the morning, I finally realized, oh, I never got my answer. So I go back onto my little mattress, because you have your little mattress and stuff, and I sit there in meditation. I go, okay, Mother, what is the answer? And the answer was, just be yourself. And I'm like, really? I'm like, wow, that makes sense. Of course, I didn't understand yet what it meant to be yourself. In other words, to be your authentic self. Only after that, I started to realize, and this is something that came to me as a very, very serious, impactful statement to myself. Every failed relationship in my life has one common denominator, and that's me. So that means I could blame everybody in my life all I want, and I'm not going to get anywhere with it because that's them. The only person who can change anything is me. So at that point, I started to look within and I started to meditate deeper. I started to work on myself more. I started to read a lot of books. I started to look and find out what is it within me. Because see, what happens is when you do a plant medicine journey, you're being shown, but you have to take all that gift that has been given to you and integrate it. You have to take it and do the shadow work, do the inner work, do all the introspection, because the journey itself, when you're there, it is healing, but it doesn't heal all your traumas. It doesn't heal all your beliefs. You actually have to go and identify all your limiting beliefs and let them go. So from that point on, I kind of knew that I think I might have embarked myself on a road. One of the things that was said during that journey was that many people who go through plant medicine journeys, their life changes dramatically. Like they literally leave corporate jobs, they leave, they shut down their business, sell their houses, do this. And I was like, I'm fine. I don't need to do any of that, And right now I'm packing to leave for Romania and be gone for at least 3 months and probably travel the world for the rest of my life. So they're leaving a career in real estate and yeah. So yeah, beware. But it's so beautiful. So yeah.
Yeah. It's like when people say there's no such thing as a fairy tale, except when you awaken to your truest, most authentic self, it is literally living the fairy tale, because you planned a purpose when you came, and when you start walking that purpose, it feels like home.
And the only way to walk your purpose is to literally do everything from the heart, from based on love rather than fear. So that, and the only way you can do that is if you let go of everything that you've been programmed to believe that you are.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So, as you've gone through the awakening, obviously, one of the things that anybody who has experienced this process knows is there are highs and there are lows. And sometimes there's just that middle of the road. When you are experiencing your lows, what techniques have you found that help you to ground yourself and to ultimately climb back to that highest place?
In fact, I'm going through a low. I have been going through a low right now, the past 3 months after my dog died, and I've been in an accident, and I felt like my entire life has yet again changed to the point that, because the awakening journey is a dying and rebirth and getting born again every single day. Every day we die and we're born again. So I found myself yet again in a moment of rebirth, and I was saying to myself, now what? Now what do I do with my life? Like, what am I going to do? Where am I going to? Because there's nothing tying me to the place I'm in right now. So I'm like, why don't I just go and really live my life, really be who I want to be, do the things that I love to do. But I did go down. In other words, in some kind of a cocoon, like I shut myself, because this is what God guided me to do. And maybe I would have done a lot more stuff, but God gave me a back pain, you see, to lay in bed for almost 3 months. Well, I did things, but not the way, like my energy and how active I normally am. So the way I have been bringing myself up from my downtimes, which is basically rhythmic, we basically go up and we go down, and we go up and we go down. This is constant. It's cyclical in our life. So what we want to do, whenever we get down, whenever we go into that rut, I call it the rut, we have to realize this, that whenever we're in a rut, if we just go with the flow and accept it with kindness towards ourselves and patience towards ourselves, next step will be for us to have a massive breakthrough. So if you were here before the rut, if you stay with it, and if you give yourself time and patience and don't rush yourself through it, whenever the breakthrough happens, and it happened for me recently, like maybe a week ago, you go to the next level of consciousness. So you shift up. So whenever this is something I learned maybe a year and a half ago or something, because I used to freak out every single time I was in a rut. I was thinking, this is it. I'm stuck. And I would panic. But then I realized, wait a minute. I've been in ruts many times, maybe all my life, and I didn't necessarily realize it, but recently it's so much more obvious. I said, wait a minute, every single time I was in a rut, I ended up with a higher potential of understanding, of comprehension, of love, of acceptance, of forgiveness, of letting go, of surrender. I'm like, why would this one be different? You see? So all you have to do, just surrender to the rut. And then the next thing will be, you're in the next level of the game. So what I do during these times, however, these are very, very important times because it's all inner work. So you journal, I journal. I have a practice of 90 days of gratitude that I want to share with you. So what I do is I take I use these types of notebooks like this, and every single day for 90 days, I write 10 reasons to be grateful for. But I actually add in there, I have a technique called hacking gratitude. So on this list of 10, I don't just put the things that I'm grateful for that happened to me, yesterday, because I usually do it first thing in the morning. So I don't just, talk about the things that happened to me the day before or something. or maybe I remember from childhood. It doesn't matter. These gratitude things, it doesn't matter when you dig this gratitude from. It has to be gratitude because you have to tap into that frequency. That's all. But hacking gratitude is when you desire something in your life. You really have a dream. And you just put it in your gratitude list and say, I am grateful that this has already happened. And basically, you told the universe that it is done. It is done. Act as if. So I do that for every single time. And whenever I go through a rut, I'm going through right now. In fact, I'm on day 29 or something like that. And I can tell you everything. I've probably done it at least 5 or 6 times in my life already. I started doing it in 2019. And every single time I do it, there's some cathartic changes that happen in my life while I'm doing it. So I hopefully that would be helpful for somebody.
So do you, I find it, like if I could put a visual to it to help those that are maybe in the beginning stages, or maybe someone who's kind of caught in a loop, I like to describe what you just talked about as like we're climbing this ladder, and we will climb, and this is where we're feeling like, oh my gosh, life couldn't be any better. And then all of a sudden we take this little, we pause and we hit this plateau of, on this level, there's a belief that you haven't yet released. So we're going to pause in order for you to experience this and to grow from it.
Yeah.
And once you, like, I don't want to stay on this level. I understand I took a pause in order to learn something. And so I'm going to release the need to try to figure it out. And I'm going to trust that the answer will come to me as soon as I release. And once you release, you begin to do this. And while you're doing this, all of the revelation, it's like you've straightened your path to the higher consciousness, which means now you can receive all of the wisdom as to why you made that pit stop. Would that explain to you like how it translates when you're going through that process?
The process for me is a little, and again, how beautiful it is that we all have a different process, right? Because there's 8 billion processes. Everybody goes on a different journey. For me, it seems like I'm a little bit more of my biggest thing on this journey is I question everything, including my own questioning. This is how I get to receive so many messages that are so off the charts sometimes, because I just questions, and then the message comes. So what I do when I'm in this period of a rut, I actually I journal a lot. So I literally ask myself, what's bothering you? Because a rut happens, usually there's something bothering you during that rut. I do sit with it, but I question it. So in other words, if something triggered me, if I feel like I'm not fulfilled from a certain aspect of my life, I will look at it and say, okay, how does it make you feel? What emotion can you describe? And I would say, well, I don't know, maybe I'm afraid of success. I'm just giving an example right now. I'm afraid of success. Okay, all right, well, let's talk about it. When was the first time in your life when you felt like you were afraid of success? Oh, well, I remember when I was in, high school, or, so I will come up with a story, and then, okay, then can you remember your childhood? Was there any time in your childhood that happened? Yeah, I remember a situation with my mom. She said this, and I wanted, okay, now is that true? No.
So like you just have a conversation with your
My
lower self and your higher self
yes,
and come to an understanding.
it's a constant converse. I literally sometimes it's funny because sometimes I stop myself and I say, who's talking now?
And that's feeling all too well.
Because we had gotten so close to each other now, like me and my higher consciousness and my inner child, like we're all like, what? And I'm like, okay, who's talking now? Who's saying that? But I know that me questioning myself, it's me giving myself the love that I thought, because it's all an illusion, I thought I didn't receive as a child. So it's this journey. I just got goosebumps everywhere. This journey has been for me a continuous journey of loving myself.
Yes.
Loving myself, loving. Just, I don't care what I do. I don't care what I did. I don't care what I do. I don't care if I don't know. I can do all kinds of things that I may not agree with myself, but I'm still going to love myself, and I'm still going to accept myself, and I'm still going to just say, it's okay. It's okay. I love you. It's fine.
Yeah.
So
Because truthfully, this is the first day you've ever been this age ever before. And everything that you're experiencing is brand new every day. So talk to yourself,
exactly.
like a brand new child. It's okay. This is new. It's a brand new day. You've never lived this day before. Everything is a learning experience, and you've got this. And even when you don't think you do have this, you actually still do.
You still do. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So for someone who might be just in the beginning stages of their awakening process, what 3 pieces of advice that would you say helped you the most?
I think the things that helped me the most on my journey were meditating almost daily. I will never say that I meditate daily, because I have many times periods when I sometimes don't meditate for an entire week. But meditation, which means stillness, be still and know I am God. So if you can't be still and let go of all thoughts, just let them pass. Let them pass. It's very hard to connect to the higher consciousness. Self-love. In fact, there used to be a time when I used to say meditation is the number one step. And then when I finally understood what self-love meant, I said, oh, I'm having trouble now deciding which one is on the top. So they're both as powerful, as necessary, and as impactful on the journey. So loving yourself, unconditional love, which means you have to look within yourself and find out if there's any codependencies, if there's any situations in which you let yourself go in favor of somebody else. You should never do that, ever, ever. So I learned that because I was codependent. This is something that I had to overcome during this period of time. The other thing I would say is gratitude, because gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership, as Joe Dispenza would say. And the point is that if you are not grateful in the moment, in other words, if you're not without judgment for the moment that you're in right now, you will not shift into another reality. In other words, you will not bring to yourself the frequency that you would not match with the frequency that you desire, you see? Because if you desire something absolutely wonderful, but you're really upset right now because something pissed you off, that frequency is not going to attract this frequency. So I would say gratitude is one of the most powerful tools that you can use.
Yeah. Along with that gratitude, it reminds me of the saying where people have this debate. Are we spiritual beings having a human experience, or are we human experiencing a spiritual journey? And you and I both know, going through the awakening, we are spirits having a human experience. Yeah. And the reason why gratitude is so powerful is because from the highest self, the perspective of God, grateful for this experience.
Yeah.
It's as if we won the human lottery. We are in a meat suit, getting to experience all of this. Yeah. So aligning with gratitude just aligns you with the truth of who you are. So that's such an amazing way to really ground yourself and to come back to truth.
I mean, literally, if you can stay in a state of gratitude, a permanent state of gratitude, that is you being in permanent alignment with the divine presence that exists within you. Because once you understand what gratitude means, is you acknowledging that you have access to the infinite abundance that God has in store for you, because it is your Father's great pleasure to give you the kingdom.
Yes.
But if you pray and if you say, oh, I hope to get this, or, you manifest from a state of wanting, you manifest from a state of needing, you asking. When you do that, is you're actually stating, I don't have it. That means you're not in alignment with who you truly are. But when you realize who you truly are, you realize that you don't need anything because you have everything, which means if you're in state of gratitude, you have access to everything.
And it's funny, the moment that you release the need or the want to have it because you realize who you are, that's when it actually all comes.
Oh, it pours over you. Yeah.
Yeah. Wild. Awesome. Well, this has been absolutely amazing. I love the fact that you are so passionate about your journey and sharing your journey. And I think it's very profound what you received during your meditation is how do I help consciousness, evolve and it's just be light, just
Yeah.
shine brightly. And you're doing such a fantastic job. I know you have a book that you've written. What's the name of your book?
My book is Arcturian Healing, and I have not put one on my table, but here it is.
And where can our listeners get a copy of your book?
Oh, on Amazon. So
Okay, hold that up so we can see it. Arcturian Healing, which is fantastic. There's a lot more of Carmen's story that you guys did not hear about on the podcast because, why hear about it here when you can read about it in that fantastic book? It's fascinating. You definitely want to hear about this journey. And you can get her book on Amazon. She also has a TikTok channel that she shares all of her insights and revelations, and they're so profound. She has a huge following because what she's doing is offering love from an authentic place of truly wanting to be the light for others because she, just like the rest of us, knows what it's like to not know who you are. And so, Carmen, thank you so much. How can they find you on TikTok? What is your handle on TikTok?
Carmen.Badan.
Carmen.Badan. And her name will be listed here on the podcast so you can look her up. By all means, follow her. She's got some great information. Is there anywhere else that people can find you if they're looking for a way to connect?
I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook as well, on YouTube as well. But my most recent, they can find me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. But if somebody's on a deeper journey, my TikTok account that I started in September has the most the deepest revelations that I have been receiving in the past 6 months that I think that they could be instrumental in awakening and shifting from who we think we are to who we truly are. So I would say TikTok would be the best place for people to look for my videos. And if I can add, in my book, there is the reason why I published it is because the Arcturians have showed up in a meditation and they told me, we didn't give you this information to keep it for yourself. You have to tell it to the world, which meant I had to come clean to the idea that the Arcturians came into my life to teach me how to heal my childhood trauma, because I wanted it so badly. Because when I realized that I was the common denominator, that means there was something making me the common denominator. And I needed to remove that in order to be my true self. And so they gave me a technique that is very, very easy to use without the help of a therapist. And it's in this book.
Amazing.
Very simple. And it's the technique that you can tap into those traumas, those triggers that I was telling you earlier on. Whenever you find the trigger in your life, you simply dig into it, find out when it started, and then use the Arcturian healing technique to heal yourself. And it's literally gone like this, and you're never going to repeat it again.
Love it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. And thank you, listeners, for being a part of the Broken's Beautiful podcast. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
All right.